Hi YouTube, and welcome to another video. We're going to continue on in our quilt series. We've already put our quilt together. We've done that whole complete process. There's a whole playlist on my channel to go back and watch that from start to finish. So this is going to be the second half where you're going to quilt it, you're going to sandwich it, you're going to do your binding, you're going to stitch it, and you're going to turn it into a whole usable quilt. Right now it's just a quilt top, but we're going to turn it into a whole quilt. But before we do that, we're going to just go ahead and get to the word of the Lord, and then we are going to go into the part that I came to show you today, and we're going to cut the binding pieces. So after we put it together, sandwich it and everything, we still have to bind it. And so I'm going to show you how to cut your fabric to bind it. So we're going to read Psalms 40, 1 through 5, and that's going to be our word of the Lord for the day. And so, starting at verse 1, I wait patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Verse 4, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, Lord, my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you have planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, they would be too many to declare. I hope you enjoyed the word of the Lord. We're going to go ahead and get into it. In this video, we're going to be cutting our binding. And this is what we're going to put on the quilt once we sandwich it and stitch it in the ditch. That's the process in which we're going to do with this quilt. If you know how to quilt and do other things, feel free to do that. But for this quilt, we're going to do a process called stitch in the ditch. So I'm going to put you down, and this is going to be, we're going to cut some strips from some fabric. This is what I'm going to use. Let me see. Let me put you down so you can see what I'm doing. This is going to be my fabric to bind the quilt once I'm done. This is also going to be the backing for my quilt, but I've already cut the backing piece off. So this part right here, I can tell you just in case you're going to use something different, I'm going to cut, I think it's 5 strips. Let's see, I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut 5 strips off of this, and I'm going to cut these at 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to line up my fabric and cut 5 strips off of here for my binding. So I'm just truing up the edge right now, getting it all ready. Then I'm going to turn my ruler around, find my 2.5 inch mark, Let's see, here's 2.5. So I'm going to put like one of the solid lines, and then I'm going to find my 2.5 inch right there, and I'm going to line up that on the and this fabric is folded in half. This is yardage, and it is folded in half. So now that I've done that, you know what I'm probably going to do is go around to the other side, because I cannot cut left-handed. I have to cut right-handed. So I'm just going to go around on this side so that my ruler can be in the right direction. But I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm just going to line up a solid line. I'm going to find my 2.5 inch mark, and I'm going to line down. So I have a line there and a line there, and I have my 2.5 inches. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut 5 strips off of this. Probably need a new blade for my rotary cutter, but you can see what I'm doing. I'll line it up again. Let's see, kind of messed it up. could have turned the fabric around and cut on the other side, but doesn't really matter. Just long as you're cutting your strips at 2.5 inches. And you're going to need 5 of them for this quilt size that we have. I'm just going to keep on cutting until that's too big. So just follow, measure twice, cut once. I've been saying that throughout this process. So even if your fabric shifts, just make sure you're lining it up with the lines on your ruler, and you should be okay. I'm going to line this back up and cut my last one to find my 2.5 inches. And cut one more strip. So there we are. All right, I'm gonna come back on this side so I can tell you how much, like if you were gonna use a different fabric than what you're gonna use for the back. 10 inches of fabric is equal to, I think it's 1/3 of a yard, because 9 inches is 1/4 of a yard, but I'm going to look it up just to be, to make sure. Go back. Go. Okay, so here I have a yardage. So if it was 9 inches, it would have been, oh, I was supposed to cut, let me see, I cut 4, I was supposed to cut 5. So to cut 5, it would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is 200. So to cut 5 strips, that would be 12. I think that would be, because I think I just cut off 10. Let's see. Yeah, that would be 12.5. So if you're going to cut 12.5, you're going to need, you're going to need at least 3/8 inches of fabric. So if you're just going to do the binding from yardage, you would need 3 3/8 inches, because that will give you 13.5 inches. And if you're going to use 12, 2, 4, well, 2 of them is 5 inches, 4 of them is 10 inches, another one is 12.5, and you want to make sure that you have enough, so you're going to do 3/8. But I'm just going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to cut it on this side. So I'm going to cut 1, 2, and then I'm just going to do my half, because I know what a half is, and I'm just going to cut it right here. So we're going to use 5 strips for our binding, and I will show you how to do your binding. So these strips are 44 inches. These strips are 44 inches wide, but we're going to cut off the salvages, and I'll show you how to do that in another video. I just wanted to show you how to cut, how many pieces that you needed, what amount it is. And then how did I arrive at this number? I'll tell you how I arrived at this number. When you take your quilt and you're going to bind it, that's going to be the part that's going to go on the outside. So you need it for this side, you need it for this side, and you need it for the top and the bottom. And then I added extra to that. So this side is going to be 40 inches. So if I take 40 times 2, that's 80 that I need. And then if I turn my quilt around this way, that's going to be about 36 inches. So I have to times that time 2. So that's 72. So 80 plus 72, and then plus I would do about another 20 inches. So that's how I arrived at that number. So I just made mine 200 and did did 5 strips. And I figured that I would take off about maybe 2 to 4 inches of the salvage on the fabric. I'll take some off, and then that's how I came to 40 inches, because I'm going to cut some of this off. So we'll go through that, but that's how you can tell. So if you made your quilt bigger than what we did, if you made yours bigger, then that's how you would determine how much binding you need, by measuring all 4 sides and then adding extra, about a whole nother strip extra, so you make sure you don't run out. It's better to have more than not enough. And I didn't have enough of my scraps left over. I didn't have enough scraps left over to make my binding. But if you bought the fabric bundles, you might have enough left over. But I didn't have enough. So that's why I just went with a whole nother, fabric. And then also, I'm using this fabric for my backing. And I'll show you how to measure your backing. Oh, that was my, oh, I cut the wrong fabric. I cut my backing up. Yep, I sure did. This was my backing, but that's okay because I still have more. But I cut my backing. That wasn't supposed to happen. But anyway, my backing is going to be, took my fabric, and I should have measured it to see, because I had 2 pieces, or I should have took the other piece out. But here's my backing fabric. And I will take my quilt and lay my quilt on the top of it. Now my fabric is folded in half because I haven't opened it up wide enough yet. So my fabric is opened up in half, and you're gonna need probably about maybe 3 inches at the top and 3 inches at the bottom for when you quilt it, just in case it scrunches up. So I am going to, so my quilt, remember, is 40. So I'll probably make my my backing piece, if it's, my quilt is 40, I'm probably gonna get 48 inches. So 48 inches, a yard of fabric is 36 inches. And if I'm gonna add more to it, I'm probably gonna get at least about a yard and a half, or maybe even a yard and 3/4 for my backing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take it, and I'm gonna, my table has kind of got other things on it, but I'm just gonna lay it out, make it long enough, and then if you want to use this for your binding, just add that number, that how I showed you how to determine what the binding is, add that number to it as well. So I'm going to take this and get, so I have some up at the top, I have plenty at the top, and then I have plenty at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut across it with some scissors, if I can find some scissors. Oh, here's some scissors right here. So I have plenty at the top, and I'm going to leave plenty at the bottom, and I'm just going to cut across it. So measure your quilt top at the longest point, because this one is 40, but the short side is only 36. So the short side doesn't, the short side is not so much what you need. And this is a baby quilt, so we have plenty of space for that. So now if I opened up this piece that I made for my quilt top, if I open it up, it's 44 inches wide because it was folded. So now if I put my quilt top on it, I got plenty of room on both sides. And I gotta press my quilt top. Let's see, this is the shortest side up here. So now I have plenty of room all around. You see this at the top, I got plenty over there. I got plenty down here at the bottom. And I got more on this side, but I would have my quilt top in half too, because now I have plenty over here and I have plenty over here, because that's what we want. So when we get our batting together, we're gonna sandwich our batting in the middle of this, and then we're either gonna pin it or spray baste it, but I'll come back and show you what that looks like in another video. I'll probably do it on the kitchen floor because I'll have more room. So I hope this video has been informational, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if you need more in-depth on how to figure out your batting and your backing and the quilt size and what you need. So just let me know if you have more questions. Thanks for watching. God bless. You have an awesome and an amazing day.